Have you ever felt like sugar was controlling you? I have, and I specifically remember thinking how defeated that made me feel. I remember standing in front of the pantry one day feeling desperate and looking for anything with sugar in it so I could get my fix. That is not normal. Hey guys, Susan here, and today I'm going to talk about sugar and getting off of it. I have been free of sweets for a few years now, and I cannot ever imagine going back. It's like night and day how much better I feel being off of sugar, and this is why I'm so passionate about talking about it and continuing to help others with overcoming their sugar issues for good. Eating sugar makes you crave more sugar. It's a controlling substance that can take over your mind, and it has a negative effect on your health, and also it makes it really hard to lose weight. I've experienced this all firsthand, and it is not fun going through life feeling controlled by sugar. There are a couple things that I want to talk about today when it comes to sugar. I'm really talking about sweets here, the sugary processed food that many of us think of as treats that really trigger that addictive effect. Cake, cookies, candy, donuts, sugary soda, chocolate, sweets like that. Before I go further in this video, it's important for me to say that one of the first things that we need to change in our minds is calling sweets treats. I know that's what so many people call sweets. Holiday treats, special treats, I'm saving it for a treat. Sometimes I like a sweet treat. We must stop calling them treats. When we think of sweets as treats, we're thinking of them as rewards, positive things. We hold them up on a pedestal, and this can totally lead to relapse and failure. I've talked before about how I personally think that quitting sweets cold turkey is best if it's an addiction for you. Weaning off of sugar does not work for a lot of people. If you want to try it at first, great. If it works, you may not be a sugar addict. You may just like sugar and eat too much of it. But for many of us, myself included, there was no weaning. Anytime I would try to wean myself off of sugar just by eating less, I was still giving into that blood sugar spike that I wanted, and then I would crash and want more. But then I'd tell myself, wait, I'm weaning myself off. I shouldn't have more. But okay, just a little bit more. And then it didn't work out. It was actually harder because I was constantly in this blood sugar roller coaster battle. When I tried to ignore it, I would struggle mentally and physically. So let's say that you already quit sugar, maybe recently, and you have been doing really well being off of it. You cut it out cold turkey. You had some withdrawal symptoms for the first 2, 3, 4 days, but now you haven't had it for a while and you feel great. You love how you feel right now. Although you do still want to continuously pay attention to how you think about sugar because it's been your drug of choice for a while, right? Do make sure that you are continuously acknowledging how good you feel. This is something I talk about all the time with my clients and participants in my programs. It's amazing how good we're capable of feeling when we put good food into our bodies, and also when we choose to not put certain foods into our bodies. And when you acknowledge how good you feel, make sure that you connect those good feelings to how you've been eating, what you've been eating, and also what you haven't been eating. Sugar. This is important to think about when you eat any food. That's why I always say, even when we indulge in other not so healthy food or drinks now and then, which is part of life, you always want to pay attention to how you are affected physically. If you feel crappy afterwards, acknowledge the fact that you feel crappy. Connect that crappy feeling to why you feel crappy, because of what you ate and what you drank. Put that in your back pocket to have for the next time you want to indulge, and you can decide if it's worth it ahead of time or not. Often it is worth it, I know, but it's amazing how many new clients I work with who say, I never realized how certain foods made me feel physically. I just never thought about it. When I was in a bad mood or tired or sluggish, I wouldn't really think about the fact that it could have been what I have been eating. There is a huge connection. When it comes to sweets, I always say that I used to be a sugar addict. I don't say I am a sugar addict because I'm not anymore. I used to be. That's one thing that I would love for all of you to start saying right now. We need to really tell ourselves who we want to be. We become who we say we are. So instead of saying I'm a sugar addict, say I used to be a sugar addict. I don't eat sugar. I choose not to eat sweets. We don't want to say I can't eat sugar. That makes us feel like we aren't allowed. When we say I don't eat sugar or I choose not to eat sugar, those are empowering phrases, and it shows that we have a choice. Also, I do have a lot of clients who have struggled or who are struggling with sugar addiction who continuously say that they love sugar. Yes, maybe they do, but if sugar is something that you want to get off of, you should really change those thoughts. If you're saying I love sugar, you'll eventually go back to it. You're connecting it to pleasure instead of to the negative effects because you're reminding yourself over and over that you love it. It's not easy to stay away from something you love, is it? We'll go back to it. I know you may think, well, I do love sugar, but let's think about that. I assume you love the yummy taste, right? But you're watching this video for a reason. You quit sugar for for a reason, or you want to quit for a reason. Why? Because you realize that it makes you feel terrible. You realize that it disrupts your sleep, your mood, your energy. Maybe you realize that you put on 5 pounds recently because of it. Do you love all of that about sugar? Probably not. So why are your initial thoughts about sugar loving the yummy taste? How about thinking about all of the negative effects of sugar now, more so than how yummy it is? Associate all of those things with the sweets to really help you change your opinion of them. Now, oftentimes when people quit sugar, as I did at the beginning, the decision hasn't been made yet. Meaning, do you tell yourself that you are a person who doesn't eat sugar, as I mentioned earlier? I personally remember specifically being at a bakery at the point when I had quit sugar, but apparently not for good, and I was in line and looking at all of the beautiful cakes and cupcakes and pastries. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, they look so delicious and beautiful and yummy. I can't wait until I know that I can control myself with sugar so I can have some of that. So at that point in time, I had quit sugar, but I hadn't really confirmed or resolved in my mind that I was a person who didn't eat sugar. I hadn't made that decision yet and that this was for good. I had quit, but also in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I can't wait to have it again. I was associating all of those sugary treats with pleasure and yumminess and deliciousness. So what did I do? At some point, I decided, oh, I'm just gonna have a piece of cake because it's going to be so delicious. And then I went down the rabbit hole and I was addicted again. Since then, I've really changed my thinking. I've changed the way that I view all of the sweets that used to be such a downfall of mine. Now, if I'm anywhere where someone in front of me is buying cakes, cookies, cupcakes, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, those look so delicious, I think, oh, that poor woman, she's going to feel like crap later. I'm so happy that I'm free. So if you haven't made the decision, you need to make it. You are a person who does not eat sugar. Now, I've said this before, but I want to make a point to say again that you never want to feel like you are depriving yourself. And I never want you to think I can't have sugar. What you want to get in the habit of saying is, I don't eat sugar, but I can have sugar. But if I'm going to choose to have it, I'm going to choose to have the feelings that I have when that addiction comes back. I know for me, yes, it would be yummy for a few minutes, but I would always want more and more. And when I had more, not only would I feel bad physically, I would get that sugar low and feel miserable, sleepy, crabby. When you're deciding, you need to associate all of the negative feelings that you will feel when you look at the sweets option. So I've given you some things to think about and really be honest with yourself as to if you regularly do any of these things that I mentioned. If you like this video, hit that like button, leave me a comment, and as always, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.